Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev.
Hello. Good day.
Good
How are
day.
you?
It just cracked me up that, before I hit record, once again, we start talking, and I had to tell Bev, stop talking to me because we could have just totally went on a tangent of talking without even hitting record. And that is not acceptable in this situation.
It's usually not acceptable in any situation. So that was that.
So, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about your blue eyes and saying thank you, or you want to talk about what was the other piece you said?
Gosh, I don't know. I just flow with this. I got so much stuff on my mind. I had a good meditation this morning. And I say on my mind, you hear what I said on my mind. If I'm on my mind, then I'm not really actually connected to everything. So the conversation can go a million directions.
No, you know what I want to tell you? It's just a super funny. Okay. I'm just going to share this. It might be a little TMI. I don't care at this moment. Because we've talked about how spirit just comes through whenever the hell it comes through, because that's when we're open to receive. Uh,
Sure.
could be in the shower, not a convenient time. Could be while you're driving, not a convenient time, right? It could be all these scenarios. Could be a meditation. I've learned to keep a pen and paper next to me. So in case that happens, I can write it down in that moment. Um, this morning, before I hopped on here, I'm kind of getting down to the wire because we agreed to meet at 10. I'm like, oh, gotta get, oh my gosh, I had to use the restroom as well. And I have been, I have a wedding I'm going to officiate, and they've asked me to incorporate a cleansing and Reiki.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know anybody who has done that to lean on. And so I've been asking spirit for this probably going on a couple months, a month, probably over a month. So I just keep asking spirit, okay, what does that look like? What could I do? What could I say? Not kidding you. And I am one, I do take my phone when I go to the bathroom. That's when it came through. So I am sitting on the toilet writing out or typing out a script in my notes in my phone, like a whole thing. I'm thinking, okay, I got to get on to tea time, and I'm doing this right now. I'm on the toilet, and this is when you want to come through with this information. Okay. Then I get on here. I'm like, okay, Bev, I'm ready whenever you are. She's like, I'm using the facilities. But you didn't get a download. Well, maybe you did do a download, but not the one.
no, just during meditation, which kind of go probably could go along with what you're saying. One of the things, because I've been meditating every single day for now, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know what the time length is, the time span of the length. I don't know. Anyways, I could get all wrapped up in all that stuff if I stay in my mind. But it's like the more that I focus on my heart, so my heart's been like a struggle for me because I've talked about this. I can feel it right now. I can feel my third eye. I can feel my crown. I can feel me open. I'm starting to feel the heart area because my focus is on the heart area because I haven't felt anything. To me, it's like crickets when I would go to that space. I'm not feeling anything. So what I do is I'll sit and breathe in and out that space over and over and over again. I talk to my guides. I do all this stuff because I'm realizing, like you were saying, that we're not alone. We're never alone. We've always got this guidance. We've always got this help. Even for you to do this, that's a pretty good undertaking actually for what you've been asked or offered. It's because it's an opportunity really to
Opportunity.
see
Yeah.
where it takes you. And it's like the more that I focus on the heart, the more I see colors in my third eye. Now I'll see third colors. I'll see colors and stuff. I've done it in meditation. I've done it. I've had it when I've gotten a massage. I've done it, had it when I'm doing a massage. It comes up all the time. But I had recently had an experience where I was seeing so brightly. And I do think it was partially because I was still smoking weed. I'm just going to be honest and straight up. This is my experience. It doesn't mean it's everybody else's experience. But when I would do that, it's like the next night I saw it going counterclockwise and like dots and like the final dots, like it closed it down. And for me, because that was such a distraction for me, because I'm being guided to other things and I don't have that was good for the time being for me. It's just no longer, it doesn't facilitate anything for me at all at this point because I can get to higher places without that. which the only way I would know is by meditation. It's so interesting. I don't, I could say so many things could have been a or, what facilitated that. I started taking a zeolite, which is just natural. Do your own research on it and see if it's something that's worth it for you. But it's like almost immediately I started having more energy. I started feeling more vibrant. This heaviness disappeared. And along with all that, meditation came in. But it just goes back to that space. If I'm focusing, because they keep saying to focus on the heart, but I'm like, well, I'm focusing on the heart, but my third eye is when I'm feeling, this is the stuff I'm feeling. So that's my draw. And now it's this morning is to let it be the draw. So instead of it being the third eye, it comes down to the heart and let it be open from up that way, because the rest of it anchors you to the ground. And it's like, I know a lot of that stuff. I've read a lot of that stuff, and without having the experience of it, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It made sense to me, but until you actually feel something, I'm a hands-on kind of person. So if you want to give me a manual and tell me to do all this stuff before I touch a machine or before I go outside and pull weeds or whatever the thing is, I have to have hands-on. I'm a hands-on kind of person, and I realize that, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just me. That's just how I've learned. So with all that being said, it's like all we have to do is talk through our heart. All we have to do is speak through that space. It's utilizing that space all the time instead of just sometimes, instead of every once in a while.
Yeah, when you said hour, or you said open from the heart up, and you went like this, and then
Yeah.
you said because the lower part is grounding, hourglass drop, like the hourglass, right?
Yeah.
Up, and then from that heart down. So that's just the image I got in my head, and I just had to share that.
Nice. I love it. I love it. It's, and I know I've had conversations and I've said, hopefully if I've offended anybody by the things that I've said on here, because you'll clarify some of the things that I say to kind of like probably take my edge off of it, because that's just me going through my growth. So I mean, that's just me learning how to communicate properly, not properly, but communicate without triggering people so that they can still want to listen and still want to tune in and still want to be part of the groups or whatever those situations are. But it's just recognizing that when we're growing and evolving, sometimes you just have to let go. And I've had to let go of things recently, or maybe people. And it doesn't mean it's permanent. It's just right now, because right now my focus is on, I think I've told you, is on the channeling and the mediumship. And it's fascinating because spirit knows. And it's like I look back when we talk about enjoying the journey to get there, I recognize all the things that they've put in place for me. And when I say they, it's my spirit team, it's God, all these things that have been put into my place to have these experiences. But we get so much, I have had so much doubt in self that I would think, oh, well, I can't do that. And I was telling Freeman recently, because I was sitting in the living room and I'm sitting there and I can full on feel my guides in me. I'm just sitting there. I didn't go into a meditative space, but I went into a quiet, peaceful state and just, taking some deep breaths. And it's like, I recognize, and now I'm sitting there, I'm asking my guides like question after question after question. And they'll move my head, yes. They'll turn my head, no. Like it was just real spot on, their immediate answers, because I step aside and I don't hold on to all the story of everything. So it's been fascinating and enjoyable. But I'm telling him this, and I'm like, I really know this is what I'm going to be doing. I really know it. And then I start saying some other things, and because there's still that doubt there. There's still that lack of self-confidence. There's still that, it almost reminds me of being a child and something could be taken away from you. So you can have this, but then someone could still come through and take it away from you, just like we do to our kids. Oh, if you're going to be naughty, then I'm taking all your toys away. And it's like we don't recognize the full experience from that when we do those kind of things. But it's fine, because we grow, and it's something that I can look at now and be like, oh, well, now I totally get it. Because if I didn't have that, this is what Spirit's telling me now, if I didn't have that experience, then I wouldn't understand the other side of that. So I had to have that experience for now, which actually makes my heart even more feel more open. So it's just fascinating, and it's like just being open to these things, and we don't know what's going to happen exactly what that looks like, but I do feel things, and it's like I know I can feel it. I can feel these things, and gosh, just with the three of us being able to practice in a group, a very small test group, because we're planning on bringing this into more of a bigger group. because we were ripples, right? So we want to take that out to everybody else too. It's not just limited to us, but we have an interest in this kind of stuff. And then one of them, it was like last week, it was no plans. Here I am, I'm sitting there because I had this amazing meditation that I listened to the night before group, and Archangel Michael was there, and it's like I felt like this coolness through my whole chest area, my back, my whole back of my body, I'd say my torso felt like it was goosebumps, like continual. So it was like that kind of a sensation, but it was like nonstop. It didn't stop at all. And it was like, wow. So I'm going in the group and I'm like, okay, Archangel Michael, you want to come through, channel? Because here I am. I'm thinking, let's just dive right in. I'm going to try to operate the show. I'm running it right now. Okay, everybody go. And it didn't work that way. But so I'm sitting there and then finally I'm like, okay, spirit, anyone who serves the light, you're welcome to come through, serves the light of God. And all of a sudden, the person's son starts coming in. It's like, then my brother's there. And it's like, there was so much knowings and emotional stuff, but it was like, was such a benefit. And it was not a benefit to one person. It was a benefit to all three people, not just from my interaction, but just with my even hearing the next person. And as, just practicing sitting with our eyes closed, because our eyes can be such a distraction. So sitting there and then the person's talking and it's like, I'm sitting there. And so that was the plan. Let's just keep our eyes closed and we'll have this conversation. And then all of a sudden my head would turn to my left. And it's like, I knew who was sitting there. I'll be like, it's turning me automatically to you. I told her because I had my eyes closed, and it's like, I want them to know what I'm feeling, because I'm feeling these sensations and stuff too. That way, if they're having these sensations, let's not fight these sensations, surrender to them, but also surrendering, knowing how it feels, knowing that it feels light and love and of God. It doesn't feel heavy and dense and worry and fear and you've got to do this and you need to do that, because it's nothing like that. It's just a flow.
We have to be in a space of allowing that flow. I
Yes.
mean, having an audience understand, I know you understand, but having the explanation to the audience, that especially if they're new to us, sometimes an explanation of learning. So Bev just didn't sit down and start doing this practice. She's been practicing to learn to be, to sit, to allow this openness for spirit to flow through her, to her, and spirit being whatever that is, as she mentioned, is the highest of the light of love that she invites in. So God, Jesus, Buddha, Kuan Yin, spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, whatever that might be, our loved ones, and recognizing the sensations she's experiencing in her body as well, and allowing the flow. So this is spirit flows, spirit to us only of the highest vibrational of love that is allowed in. With that is all I will allow in. And just so that the audience recognizes this is not some voodoo weird shit we're doing. It's not. It's connection to our higher selves. It's connection to a higher vibrational frequency that is readily available to us, so that they help us. This energy that we cannot see with our physical eyes, most people, some can, that and we can tune into that as well if we practice and take the time to, if that's something you desire, is to see the energies of people, the auras, of plants, of animals, of the rocks, that you can take the time to learn to adjust your physical eyes to be able to see the auras of all energies. And this takes practice. The things that I do took practice. The things Bev's doing takes practice. And she's now in a space where, I mean, we've been doing this for nearly 4.5 years of doing our podcast. If you go back to the beginning and watch us, we are not the same as we are today. You've been able to watch us week after week, not months, week after week. We have a recording of our growth and things that have helped us. And so she's bringing that information forward, because her journey has been not like who she is today is completely different than who she used to be. And in the beginning of wanting to do this recordings, podcast, or putting ourselves out there, like into the world to see, that she's very reluctant at that time. And now, and very, very nervous and tense, and not, more nervous so about what a conversation is going to look like. Now, look, she's completely relaxed. She spends a lot more time talking than I do, which is great. And I love it. And my heart is so full when she does. I just sit here and I'm like all giddy inside, because I'm like, look at her go and grow. Look at her go and grow, because this is so amazing. And so a lot practice is to allowing yourself to tune into those higher vibrational frequencies, to listen and bring forth information that is beneficial, not only for yourself, but for other people, to help be that guide, provide guidance and support in a way that as a human, we may not receive. Maybe you feel like you're alone. Maybe you feel like, well, you don't have a lover or a partner or a roommate, and you feel alone. I never feel that way anymore. I'm like, I have so much support around me, and embrace it. And when I want to know some information, just like when I started out, all right, Spirit, what does it look like to officiate a wedding where they want to incorporate Reiki and a cleansing? What does that look like? I don't know. So help me out. So, get that download while I'm downloading.
That's right. That's right. I love it. There's just so much, there's just so much. The more it's learning how, it's like, even when you were describing to people that may not have seen us before and telling them this, this is where we're at and stuff, but ask questions. And don't just ask questions from us, ask questions from inside, because those answers are always coming. And it's like, for a while there, because I tell you, I was probably asking like 50 questions an hour, it seemed like. And so by the time I get the answers, I've gotten a million answers and I don't even know what to do with that. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Because I was already moving on to something else. And it doesn't mean there was ever anything wrong. That's just where I was at. And it was okay, because it got me, I still made it from there to here. I'm in a different space. I'm more focused. And it's also, when I first started looking up, when we see animals and numbers and messages and all that kind of stuff, I would always look up the information, and I still do look up information. But now when I see animals and stuff, I'll be like, instead of, oh, I'll go look it up that I know, I'll ask inside, what is the message you have for me? And for me, I was seeing I'm telling you, it's so amazing how many roadrunners I've seen. And it's probably the same ones. And it's like, I could be speeding down the dirt road, and it's like, I could see like 4 or 5 in a day, which is
Wow.
crazy. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm seeing them all the time, and I'm like, what's the message for me? And it was focus and have that drive, because no matter what, and be able to shift at any moment. So the only way that I could shift at any moment is to be surrendering. If I'm in control of it, I'm too rigid. So it's to let go of control when that's all I've known my whole life, but that was my story. And I don't have to be attached to that story anymore. And the only way that I could do that was surrendering to God, really. Surrendering and knowing there's something so much bigger than us, and it can guide me, and it knows it knows what's needed at any given moment. So when I say mediumship and channeling and stuff, it's whatever in that moment, in that very moment. In the moment, it could have been, even during the session that I was kind of referring to, it went from spirit coming through to one of the persons was having pain in their neck. And it's like, I'm channeling information, and I know these things, but it's like I was guided to have the person breathe into the back of the neck where that was, what was going on. And it's like, then I'm like 3 breaths, and I'm thinking that, okay, okay, this isn't something that I've read. And then going up to a third eye, and then going down to the heart. And I mean, it was just this whole process. And by the time we were done, the person had no pain. And so it's whatever is needed in the moment. And that's the fun of it all. I've always said I get bored too easily. So if I'm doing massage, lucky for me, there was so many other modalities that I could incorporate into massage. But I also know that massage was part of my journey. It was part of my journey to be quiet. It was part of my journey, not always that I did that, but it was part of my journey to listen. It was part of my journey to feel with my senses, to feel with my energy. And now that I've been doing this stuff, I feel things more like it's just, I find it fascinating. I don't necessarily have to feel it in the body, but recognizing still there's times that I'm pulling the stuff in. I'm still feeling it, almost as if I've heard shamans talk about like pulling it out of someone and into them, and then they're sick and everything else after that. But it's learning how to release that. It's learning how to communicate. It's learning how to, instead of having the pain and thinking we deserve something, or we're so used to having the pain that we just don't ask for help. That's, you've got a whole universal freaking team. Like it's always there. And they'll guide you. Maybe it would be breathing into that spot. Who knows? Maybe it would be balancing that chakra, clearing your energy, go get in the shower. Like there's so many different things that it could point you in any direction, but it's being open. And I could never be open because I was too much trying to control everything.
Yep.
And
And I,
and open up to your heart. Your heart's already open. You just got to open up to it. It's already there.
yeah. And I noticed that myself because, you know, having a full-time job out in the world, that control piece showing up some more. And I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't working out so well. So you keep using the word surrender, and bringing in more playfulness is important as well. Is when we get in that more playful state and being surprised and delighted by spirit, by the universe, by your manifesting, just being surprised and delighted. I think Abraham Esther Hicks uses those terms, that life can be fun if we allow it to be, but when you're in a control state, things do not go well.
It's crazy. It doesn't feel good. It just doesn't. None of that part of the conversation feels good. It didn't feel good. We think we're still trying to protect ourselves, but it's back to the walls, right? You put walls up around your heart to protect it because you got hurt a few times. You're not just blocking out the hurts, you're blocking out everything. And then you get to a point where you don't even want to feel those emotions that are within inside your body because you already had the hurt once. Why do you want to hurt again?
Yeah.
Like, why do you go through that process again? And it's like, when you recognize this is an opportunity to let go of it, it's not going to hurt the same as it did the first time because you've already had that experience. Sure, it's going to hurt, but that's a path of least resistance, right? That's the easiest way for that emotion to get outside of the body. That's it.
Yeah. Always choices. We always
It
come
really
back to
is.
that. We always have
And
choices.
yeah, and it's fine. Whatever choices you make is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But eventually you decide whether you want to be in that space or you don't want to be in that space.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you have it, my friends. Make a choice. You live in control or playfulness, live in fear or love, live in staying and focused on your human, what we call reality, really isn't our reality, or connect with spirit and have that divine guidance. So there's so many options and so many choices that we get to make. And it's for you to recognize what's the best for you in this moment. And each moment, it's not going to be the same. Again, we started doing this about 4.5 years ago. Where we were then is not the same as where we are now. And we continue to evolve and grow. And that's why we keep showing up to do this podcast and to share our journey, to share what's working for us, to share from a more loving space. And if you're getting anything beneficial from these conversations, we'd really appreciate you having these conversations with your friends and family and coworkers, and standing in the grocery line or share the resources, share the links to these videos that are helping you, whether it's ours or somebody else's. There's so many light workers in this world right now that are popping up and have been in existence for several years, that you find what works for you and share that, because there are other people who want that information as well. They just don't know where to get it. And until you have those conversations and open up, they're going to kind of be living life willy-nilly, feeling quote unquote lost, and seeking, they're asking those internal guidance questions of, what do I go from here? What's my purpose? How do I figure this out? And here you have information and you're not using your voice. So it's time to use your voice and have the conversations and help other people. And that's what we're here to do. So with that, this is Tea Time with Amie and Bev. We are found on Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're in so many areas, and you can find us. It's Amie and Bev Community is the title of our channels. And the podcast itself, Tea Time with Amie and Bev. So please have the conversations. It's really important, especially now. Things are changing so much, and people are really trying to decide which direction to go, and you could be that beacon of light for them. So with that, do you have any final words, Bev, as we wrap this up?
We'll just keep it short, make a beautiful week.
Yeah. And that's your choice. Make it a beautiful week or make it a magnificent week, whichever you choose.
That's true.
And be prepared for downloads on the toilet, just saying. We love you guys. Take care. And yeah, take your phone or notepad to the bathroom. I'm telling you. All right, friends. The Tea Time with Amie and Bev. We'll see you next time.
Bye.